85% of prospective tenants will not even look at an apartment community rated 3 stars or lower.
You're listening to Reply Talk, a podcast designed to provide actionable marketing strategies and valuable insights around apartment marketing, hosted by Corbin Wright.
We're going to be talking about online reviews today and the importance of online reviews in multifamily. I'll let you introduce yourself.
Great, I'm Jeff Jacobson with Opiniion, VP of Business Development, and excited to be here. Love these guys. Good to see you both again, by the way.
Good to see you, man. Absolutely. We're happy you're in town. And you're in town for what again?
It was a Pegasus Residential Leadership Conference 2019.
Okay, cool. And everything went well with that?
It was a great conference, great company. I was talking to you guys, they do a great job at taking care of their employees and really, I think, providing leadership.
Yeah.
And it was good to be at a company that did that. They let the vendors participate, which was also really unique. We sat along with them all, participated, rubbed shoulders with them, ate with them. So just a great few days. I'm really happy we got to come down, really pleased with it.
Cool. All right, so let's get into it. We're talking about online reviews. How important are they in multifamily?
They are critical. I'll back up. When somebody looks for something, anything new, a restaurant, a movie, anything that we look up right now, first thing we do is grab our phones, jump on our computer, look at that, Google it, and see the reviews.
Absolutely.
And that's the way
I review everything.
Everything, all the way down to, even on Amazon, you look at Amazon reviews before you buy anything.
Yeah.
So they are a major part of consumer habits right now.
For sure. And I feel like you can just make or break your community. Actually, I know you can make or break it. Like I was in operations, I was in multifamily operations, I was a community manager, and one bad review, man, and it can be bad.
It really kills you, and you really hit the nail on the head. Unfortunately, nowadays, people that have a negative experience are the ones that are most likely to share it.
Yeah.
People be happy and run and share it. If somebody has a negative experience, first thing they want to do, they want to get online and blast their community.
Yeah.
Had a bad experience, I want to tell somebody about it. I want somebody to validate my anger, so I'm going to go online and blast them on reviews. And unfortunately, for multifamily and housing, besides the food industry, they take a bigger hit than any other industry out there.
Really?
For bad reviews.
Yeah. That's where you live.
Yeah.
It is your home.
It is.
It's not just some easy decision that people are making. It's, you don't want to have a bad experience there.
No, you're right.
Because it's going to last a lot the next 12 months at least.
You're there, right? You go to a bad restaurant, you might not review them because you know how you saw that, you just don't go back.
Exactly.
But if it's, like you said, if it's a place where it's a roof over your head, where you sleep, it's critical.
For sure. I'm happy to pull that a little bit closer up to you. There we go. So we met you guys at OpTech this past year and, saw your software and how great it is. And how does that help multifamily companies around?
Sure. So the base product is designed to solicit feedback and reviews from your tenants.
Okay.
And the way we do that is by integrating with your management system. We already tried any of the large ones we integrate with, varying levels of direct API integration, all the way down to the ability to pull automated reports that send to us daily. But typically there are 3 triggers that get pulled by a tenant: move in, move out, and a work order. Okay. Once one of those triggers is pulled, our system broadcasts a text and or an email message to your tenant, thanking them for whatever the experience was and asking them to provide feedback and or a review.
Okay.
At the bottom of the broadcast, we've got 5 unique boxes, 1 through 5. They click a 4 or 5, which would be indicative of a good experience.
Yeah.
That's going to take them directly to the Google My Business page for that particular community, where in 2 clicks and about 10 seconds, we can get your 4 and 5 star, your positive reviews going directly onto the review site where your prospective tenants are going to look.
Absolutely. And then on the other side, so say a bad experience.
Great question, which they all happen, unfortunately. So same thing, we'll broadcast that message out. Instead of clicking on the 4 or 5, if they click 1, 2, or 3, indicative of a negative experience, we actually pull a window up that routes them with a call to action: I had a bad experience. They click that call to action, it opens up a private feedback portal between your tenant and the community.
Okay.
So what that does, a few things. Number one, it gives a disgruntled tenant an outlet.
Absolutely.
Opportunity, hey.
They just want to be heard.
They just want to be heard. And that's fundamentally so true. Is a lot of times, I don't want to minimize bad reviews. There are legitimate reasons people write bad reviews out there. But a lot of times, most times, somebody just wants to be validated.
Absolutely.
And
it's typically like that last resort when they're like, I'm going to blast these people.
Exactly.
Like, I'm going for blood.
They're angry. They
Yeah.
want to get it out immediately, and they want somebody to feel their pain. They want to share that pain. Is what we found they do. So this way that we're able to open up that private feedback portal. Number one, it eliminates those reviews from going immediately on a public review site.
Yeah.
Where tenants can look at them and see them. But the real value in it is it provides the community feedback from your tenant. This is a reason why they had a bad experience, and gives you an opportunity to reach out to them, to rectify it, correct the situation, and in most cases make a disgruntled or unhappy tenant a happy one.
Absolutely. Okay. I mean, so how many people do you see that actually leave the comment, rather, like if it's a bad comment, 1 through 3?
Mm-hmm.
How many people actually do it? Do they go on there, or?
They do, and it's funny that you say that. So a lot of our company was founded on Bright Local, which is a company, I don't know if you're familiar with, that actually studies consumer habits.
Okay.
When people want to find something new, what do they do? It incorporates Google searches, what they're specifically looking for. So the founders of our company pulled all that data and realized here's a product that's going to have application on what we're doing. On that note, the more times that you make somebody click, the less engaged they become.
Mm-hmm.
Each additional click is, I think, a 15% less likely chance that they'll continue through with it. So there's a lot of things that we play with Google compliance in order to be Google compliant. And one thing Google holds us very strict to is if somebody wants to leave a good or a bad review, they have to go to the same site. We have to give them the same opportunity to do so.
Absolutely.
The call to action that we place on that landing page actually is really funny. It's about a 45-second timeout, and we found when people are angry, they don't want to wait 45 seconds to leave a bad comment.
Yeah.
So if they don't click that call to action, they're most likely not going to do anything. Their anger subsided, it's too hard for them to do, so they kind of walk away from it.
Yeah.
So it's a way for us to mitigate, I hate to say anger, but mitigate that negativity.
Absolutely.
But if somebody really has something valid to say, they're going to click on it and they're going to go through.
Okay. That's smart.
Yeah.
I mean, it's simple smart. Like, it's just giving the people the option to be heard about their problems, because typically when you leave a review online, like it takes a little while to get through that, and then that just kind of causes a bad experience altogether on both sides. This is a pretty organic way to get feedback from the resident.
Sure.
If it's a bad experience, and be able to correct it. And then there's kind of like, yeah, they're still a little angry. They're probably still pissed off.
Right.
But at least the property management side is able to come at it and not have that, negativity coming at them, from leaving a negative review.
Absolutely.
As well, because I know that when I was a community manager back in the day, somebody leaves a bad review, and it's like, oh, like you naturally get pissed off yourself.
You take it kind of personally.
Yeah, you do. And then it's, but your guys' software and everything is super unique because it kind of mitigates the whole situation, and then you're able to kind of come at it in a much better light from a property management side.
And you made a great point, and that is that a bad review goes up, and it could damage your property, it could damage your reputation of your property. But what we found in the past is a lot of people will actually engage on that review site, and that's one thing that it's not a good idea to do. Number one, it's out there in a public forum.
Absolutely.
So unless you are able to handle it in a very professional manner and have the information that you need to address somebody's negative review, you're better off not even engaging. And what we found is a lot of times, unfortunately, for lack of knowledge or lack of technology, it's our reaction is if somebody attacks you or writes something negative about you, you want to defend yourself. You want to defend your community.
Absolutely.
And so by having that time gap, but let's say somebody wants to write negative feedback and it does come directly to you as a community manager, it gives you that opportunity to kind of take that conversation offline, away from the public's eye, where you can really address it and actually be a problem solver and find solutions.
And think about it, like that. The biggest problem is like that when an online review, from my experience, when it comes in, it's a negative one. You've got people at the corporate level kind of monitoring it,
right?
And then all of a sudden it's like fire, like. You need to take care of this, you need to take care of it now, and then you might not properly take care of it because you're under fire and you're just reacting.
Absolutely.
Rather than really thinking about, like, okay, what happened? Let me address this situation. It's not in the public eye, because now you don't have two factors coming in.
Right.
Where you've got to address it from a public perspective.
Sure.
And then address it properly with them so that they're not mad. So it's like...
You're exactly right.
You're getting... You just have a much better approach,
better experience. The whole thing, reviews are great. We could talk for hours about how important reviews are for properties. But I find one of the true value that we add with that is feedback.
Absolutely.
That's what we want. It's that data, that real-time data from your tenants of what my experience was. And your ability to communicate that, articulate it. We've seen a lot of services out there where a lot of times you can hire somebody to respond to negative ads. And that's out there, and for some businesses that might be okay. But we found that nobody knows your community like the community manager.
Absolutely.
Nobody knows the tenants, the ins and outs and nuances of people that live there. And so who better than the community manager to respond to something like that?
For sure.
And
I completely agree.
Yeah, and so it gives them, it gives community managers another tool to be engaged with their tenants.
Absolutely. We do the same thing. And what we do is we speak to the community managers. We talk to them. We talk to the regional managers because you know your property best. Like you said, you know the little nuances. You know what your demographic is, how people respond, how people react. And you're able to take a much better approach than giving it over to somebody that has no idea what's going on.
A third-party canned approach.
Yeah, and that's the thing about today. Like, it's not the canned approach does not work. It's not authentic. It's if you're trying to build a brand, like that's not an authentic brand. You're just you're just putting somebody else out there just to respond to your stuff, and it
doesn't work.
No.
I mean, I've seen examples where there are a lot of services out there, and I don't want to knock any service. Every service out there, I believe, has its place in the industry. It's just a matter of if it works for your community and for your tenants. But I've seen on the review side canned approaches, templated responses to negative experiences. And if you remove yourself from the management side, the community side, and put the tenant shoes on, if you made a review like that and the only response you got was a templated response saying call an 800 number and tell me about it, boy, did that make you feel better?
Terrible experience.
Terrible. I mean, if anything, it advanced the problem. It didn't do anything to fix it.
Pisses you off more.
It does. So now you have another reason to be angry. Man, not only did I have a bad experience, but their response to me was a bad experience. So it's about engaging and really getting on the level of your tenants. And nobody knows that better than community managers.
Fully agree. Well, if you could give one big helpful tip when it comes to online reviews or choosing a software vendor in the review field, what would you give?
Well, there's a lot out there. And certainly in multifamily, it's critical. As I mentioned, multifamily, there are a lot of numbers we can throw out, which I wouldn't want to bore anybody with. But something that I think is critical and that we really drive home with all the people that we talk to about our product is this. 85% of prospective tenants will not even look at an apartment community rated 3 stars or lower.
That's incredible.
It's incredible. So think about that scale. 84% won't look at an apartment community under 3 stars.
That's crazy.
So the amount of business that you're losing just by not having your rating where it needs to be is a huge detriment to communities. And I think it's an education. You and I have talked multiple times about a lot of what we do is education. Once that education is given, people are able to make good decisions for themselves.
Absolutely.
They just need to know what's out there, what's available. And so I think Opiniion does a phenomenal job of doing that. Our integrations make it very easy to work. And I'll tell you what, our footprint's growing larger and larger in the industry, and it's an exciting industry.
It is. It's growing.
It's growing. I like it because I rent from communities.
Yeah.
I'm a renter, and in fact, I rent a community from one of our customers.
That's awesome.
And so it's funny, if I have a work order, my heater didn't work, I get a survey, I get a request from
coming straight from Opiniion.
Yeah, straight from Opiniion. So it's really fun to be on the other side of that.
Absolutely.
And I think it helps us just to understand the position, the very unique position that regional managers, community managers, anybody in the multifamily housing industry faces on a daily basis.
Absolutely, and it is the front line. So understanding it from the front line, like we understand what you're going through and the challenges that you face, and we've dealt with it. And even from the resident side, when I moved here to Atlanta, I moved into a Cortland property, and you really start to see things, and you see some things that are broken, and you see some things that are going really well.
Right.
But having that inside look at things really helps you, and then also having that outside.
Absolutely, it really
helps you out. And we know that it works and it helps because that's why we continue to partner with you guys and why we refer people your way, because it affects everything. It doesn't just affect your community image, it affects your occupancy. It affects everything else. So when we put marketing strategies in place, whether it's AdWords or Facebook or any type of lead generation, they get to that step and they see the online reviews and they're like, I don't know, man, this could be a bad place to live.
Right.
You know, we instantly recommend, let's get these reviews up, or let's fix what's going on, because we can send we can spend as much money as we want on advertising.
Right.
But if your reviews are terrible and your service matches, like,
you're in trouble.
You're in trouble.
You're in trouble.
Yeah.
You make a great point, and that one I want to kind of expand on. It's so say there's a prospective tenant. I need to find a new place. What I'm going to do? I'm going to look on my phone. I'm going to search for Google.
Yeah.
Look at the stars. Okay, great. It's rated really highly. They've got a very high rating. They've got a really good number of reviews and recent reviews. Those are kind of the three factors. So the next thing they're going to do is go to the website. They're going to go to the website of that community, and this is where what you guys do is so critical. People are going to look at stars, and that's kind of the hook that you drop in the water.
Yeah.
And if they bite, you're going to pull them up.
Absolutely.
And then they're going to go to the website, and that's where what you guys at Reply do is so critical. If people in the multifamily housing industry believe that they can handle that, think that they can do it organically, that they don't need to dig and find what's best for them, they're going to be lost.
Absolutely.
They're going to be lost.
It's a holistic approach of bringing in all sides of what's important: reviews, generating the lead, capturing the lead, call to action, and then having the service that matches that experience.
Yes.
But having that great prospect experience really sets you up for success for the resident experience.
It absolutely does. There's so much that goes on before somebody signs a lease.
Absolutely.
And there's so much goes on behind the scenes. A lot of people don't have the foresight to think through, or just think that it happens organically. You know, we've got a big shiny new building. People are going to like us.
Oh, man.
It's so much more than that.
If you build it, they will not necessarily come.
It's a great analogy. You're right. There's a lot you got to do to get people in and engaged and interested in it. And that's why, you know, when we first met you guys at Optech, I think we hit it off immediately, personality-wise, but also your product was something that we get asked about all the time.
Yeah.
People like reviews. They love what our platform is, but we get asked quite often, you guys do managed services. Who do you know that does this, because we don't have it right now?
Absolutely. And it takes several things to be able to make this stuff work, and likewise.
It really does.
We love working with you, and appreciate you hopping on here, shedding some light on online reviews. We got Opiniion in the house, so we're going to do another episode with your brother.
Yes. Clay's very knowledgeable. In fact, I don't want to tip too much of the cards in his favor, but Clay's very knowledgeable in this space, very
Absolutely.
knowledgeable in reviews. And he spoke at a conference a couple weeks ago in Texas with some phenomenal information about the story of reviews and the importance behind them. So I'm really looking forward to when he gets on. I think your listeners will love it, and I really appreciate the opportunity. It's great to see you both again.
Jeff, likewise.
All right.
Great seeing you.
You too, man.